Hello, my fellow property managers. Marc Cunningham with Grace Property Management. If you're watching this video at the time it is released, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving as we close out 2022 and look into 2023. And one thing that happens continually, over and over and over, with new owners when they just bring a property on, with current owners when a property is turning over, is this. When you have an owner client who doesn't want to make a repair to the property that you are recommending. Now, this comes into play two times most specifically. One would be when the owner's doing their own turnover. Right? The owner has done the work and they give you a property and they say, here you go, it's all ready to go, it's completely ready, nothing else needs to be done, go ahead and rent it. And you walk into that property and maybe it looks okay, but there are some things that you find, the fact that only 2 of the 4 stove burners are working and you think, well, gosh, we kind of need to repair that. They say, no, I don't want to repair that. Just rent it as is. You look around and you say, God, it's just carpet's kind of dirty. They say, no, it's good enough. Just rent it like it is. They don't want to make that repair. The other time this comes into play is when a current tenant is in place. A tenant has moved into the property, they're living there, and they contact you, and the tenant says, hey, my ice maker isn't working on my refrigerator, happens all the time, or my washing machine isn't working, and you make the mistake of contacting the owner before you do the repair, and the owner says, no, you know what, don't repair that. It's whatever. They can live without an ice maker. I don't want to fix the washing machine. Those things break all the time, or the dryer, so just don't worry about it. And you're stuck, so what do we do? Well, let me offer you a couple suggestions and best practices around this idea of what to do when an owner doesn't want to make repairs. Now, number one would simply be this, and this kind of sounds kind of like one of those duh things, but I think it's worth reminding us that we need to have property standards. The standard is not whatever your owner says is okay. The standard is what you say is the standard for a property, number one, to be rent ready, and then number two, and these are tied together, the standard of what the repairs will be. Now, I'll give you some specifics on that here in just a minute, but do you have those standards, or do you leave it up to the owner to say it's good enough? Because if the owner's saying it's good enough, you can say, well, maybe it's good enough for you, Mr. Owner, but it's not good enough for us, because here are our standards. Now, some of these standards may be legal standards. Many municipalities, states, counties, different jurisdictions have habitability codes. So you can use the habitability code and the habitability requirements to your benefit in this instance. If you can say, well, gosh, Mr. Owner, I know you think it's okay that the tenant doesn't have any hot water, and I know you just say, well, just let them boil it on the stove and dump it over their head in the shower. What's wrong with that? However, the law doesn't allow that. We have habitability requirements that we have to meet. So blame some of this on the habitability rules. Now, that doesn't cover everything. Habitability doesn't cover everything. So you want to have an additional layer of your internal requirements where you say, in order for us to rent a property, Mr. Owner, here are the standards it must meet. Here are the habitability standards. If the owner says, well, is that a legal requirement? And you can say, no, that's not a legal requirement, but it's our requirement. In order for us to manage your house, in order for us to lease your house, it must meet the following standards. These are not legal standards. These are our internal standards. If they say, well, I don't like that. Well, if we're going to manage your property, these are the standards our properties must meet. And you need to have that. You need to have those standards. It's not a legal issue. So the owner can't just be like, well, it's not legal, so it's not required by law, so I'm not going to do it. It's not about the law, Mr. Owner. It's about our internal standards. So for example, for us, the law does not require carpets to be professionally cleaned before a tenant moves in. The law doesn't require that. The law doesn't even require properties to be rekeyed between tenancies. I bet it doesn't in your state either. I'm blown away how many states don't require that. However, we do require that. So if we're going to be managing the house, we're going to require the carpets be professionally cleaned. We're going to require the locks be changed and rekeyed between tenancies. It's not a legal aspect. It's how we require things internally. Now, as it relates to specific things on this policy, here's some language I encourage you to build in to your standards, and that is simply this. Stating that all mechanical components must be working as designed. Oh, I love this little statement. Because here's what's going to happen. The owner's going to say, well, listen, 3 of the 4 stove burners are working just fine. They don't need 4 of them. They don't need an ice maker on the fridge. They can make their ice inside of that. They don't have to have that. I understand that the gas fireplace blower fan doesn't work. There's a switch for it and there's a fan, but it's broken. That's okay. Now, legally, all those things could be okay. However, our policy is this. all mechanical components must be working as designed. That means if the fridge has an ice maker, it must be working as designed, and I'm pretty sure those things are designed to spit out ice. So it's going to have to be functioning as designed. If there's 4 burners on the stove, they must all work because it has to be what? Functioning as designed. Say it with me. That's right. All these things come into place. If there's a fireplace, a gas fireplace, it has to be working because our requirement is it functions as designed. Now, before I tell you how to put these standards in place, or kind of the trick that I would recommend you do, not a trick, but the foundational piece, I want to thank the sponsor for this video, CredHub. CredHub. Wouldn't it be nice if every single month you could report your tenant's rental payment history to the credit bureaus? Your tenants that pay on time, they get like bonuses. They get their credit score raised by reporting that on-time payments to the credit bureau. Those people that don't pay, if they know that's a non-payment or late payment is going to get reported, that might just be enough to encourage them to pay on time, and tenants are getting later and later in their rent payments. That's what CredHub can do for the property management industry. They can automate the whole thing. They just take your information from your software. They can report it to the credit bureaus on your behalf. It helps your current tenants, helps good tenants like it. Bad tenants, it encourages them to pay faster. It's a cool process. Jump on their website. I'll put a link in this video to CredHub. Have them give you a demo. See if that's something that would benefit you in the tenant benefit package you provide to your tenants. Okay, so here's my biggest recommendation. Number 3 is this. Put your property standard requirements onto your website. You can have standards and come up with a nice little pretty document and say, these are our property standards. These are our rent-ready standards. These are our repair standards. But putting it on your website does something magical. It makes it so much more enforceable when you can send your owner client a link to your webpage. So when you say, Mr. Owner, I know you don't want to fix the 3rd or the 4th burner. Let me send you a link from our website that will tell you exactly what our repair standards are, exactly what our rent-ready standards are on for us. It kind of stops the conversation. It gives you a backstop of support for why you're saying the things you're saying. So create a page on your website. So here's a screenshot. I know you can't see this. Jump on our website, rentgrace.com. If you go under, I think, our owners tab, one of them says rent ready. And these are all of our rent ready standards. And so we list all these things for our owners. We put a link here to the Colorado statute as it relates to the habitability code, so they can click it right here. Half these things are required by state law. Now a lot of them aren't, but we're going to list all the things. Property professionally cleaned. Property professionally cleaned. Isn't that interesting? Caulking, door locks, rent ready requirements, and then we list a whole bunch of other things. Here you can see right here we say all mechanical elements, including appliances, must be operating as designed. We point back to that one a lot, and we have a whole second page with just a laundry list. Now this is not an exhaustive list, and it even says at the bottom, this is not a full list of standards, but it basically gets the big ones. These are the things that owner clients potentially point back to and be like, what? It's okay that it doesn't have window well covers on the basement windows. No, it's not. It may not be legally required, but we require it. Why? And they say, well, why do you require it? Because it says so right here, and we need to have this in place for these tenants. Jump on our website, copy ours if you like it, as always. My friends, what else do you need help with? Income streams, systems, checklists, processes, forms, marketing. pmbuild.com is where all that information of ours lives. Download our system manuals, check out our training. Whatever you may need to help you build, grow, and protect your property management company, you'll find on pmbuild.com. I hope to see you, my friends. For those of you that are watching this live, I will be in Atlantic City, New Jersey next week, speaking at the Triple Play event out there, so I'll see some of you there. I hope you can jump on the website, and we'll start putting on where I'm going to be speaking live next year in 2023. Hope to see some of you there. But until then, my friends, I wish you success.